Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Everyone has their own individual interests, right?
Yes.
I got a buddy of mine, I just learned this in the break, who is going to Utah this weekend and going up and down some mountain in Utah enough times to emulate climbing Mount Everest.
Wow.
I'm trying to come up with an amount of money you would have to pay me to do that. And it's astronomical. And I'm pretty sure he's paying to do it.
Some people seek adventure, Hunt.
I'm really proud of them, and I'm like, he's probably freeing up a golf course somewhere for me, so I appreciate that. Because everybody wanted to play golf all the time, I could probably never get on the course.
Yeah.
But that is among the last things on earth I would like to do. Run up and down a mountain a lot of times.
Yeah.
Does that interest you in the least?
No, not really. I don't really. Yeah, it's like, okay, even if you do go up and down it this certain amount of times that you would have required
it's a foot thing.
Yeah,
how many feet you go.
Yeah, and doing that to emulate climbing Mount Everest, it's still, even if it's the same amount of feet, it's still not going to be the same because it's completely different terrain.
Where do you stand on hiking?
I think it's pretty cool. I haven't done a lot of serious hiking, but the stuff that I have done, I have enjoyed. I mean, it can be a very scenic and really cool experience when you different views you can get. I do understand why some people don't want to do it because they just don't care to see that.
Don't care about walking through a bunch of sticks and stuff.
Yeah, I can understand why people don't like that. I can also understand why people do.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm not really going up and down a mountain just to climb the same amount of feet that you would for Mount Everest doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
It makes me laugh. Like, to each his own. And Will's the man. I'm thoroughly doing it and going to love it. Just don't ask me to go.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. And also, while you're at it, don't ask me to go hiking either, because that's not going to happen. I will sit on the couch before I go hiking. So that's adventure and action sports for this Monday edition of the Hunter Palmer Show. Let's talk about defensive tackles. LSU last year at this time, if you looked at their defensive tackle depth chart, you would go, this is a problem. And then in week 2, Jacoby and Guillory got hurt, and it was a real problem. Now, they played admirably, but Gio Paez was kind of supposed to play on the end. He had to kick down a tackle, and you had to play Ahmad Bro immediately as a true freshman who was really an end when you signed him and gained 30 pounds and had to play in there as a freshman. And then McKinley got hurt, and he couldn't play to start the season, and you had to kick Shand down there, and like it was a bit of a mess in terms of the numbers. They played at, it wasn't a complete liability on the team, but it was not anywhere close to a strength, and it just was not anywhere close to what is a championship level of defensive front. They feel like they have addressed that to an extent. Gio Paez moves on for graduation. JVR Suggs transferred to Wisconsin. Kimo Makaniole, who was offense and defense, he's out. He's at West Virginia. Jalen Lee transferred to UNLV. Demarion Johnson transferred to Southern. And then you brought in some new guys to add to Jacoby and Guillory, Ahmad Bro, Dominic McKinley, and Sean Washington, who's still here. You got Sydir Mitchell from Texas. Big boy, 6'6", 355. Big boy would be pretty underselling it. Bernard Gooden comes in from South Florida. He's more of an undersized 6'1", 268, but very, very quick and active. And then you bring in 3 freshmen. Walter Mathis and Brandon Brown are in the 6'2", 290 range. And then Zion Williams comes in at 6'4", 360 pounds as the heaviest player on the roster. So you've got numbers. That's a total of 9 guys that you bring in that you feel like can play. I feel like the rotation is probably 6 deep, and I feel like it looks okay at 6 deep. I think that Jacoby and Guillory and Sydir Mitchell are your big, physical, imposing forces at the nose. Like they are guys who are going to eat space. Guillory's 6'2", 318. Mitchell's 6'6", 355. Like these are strong dudes that are hard to move out of the way. Jacoby and Guillory had a great camp last year. He was very noticeable in drills with the defensive line. He's the biggest and the strongest. He's never been a massively impactful guy. You're talking about a guy who's been here now for 5 years, and he's played 41 games and has 2 tackles for loss and half a sack. Like he's not a massively impactful guy. But there's a role there for him, and it's, hey, I'm coming downhill, and I'm going to make things a little bit difficult on your guard. And the same thing goes for Sydir Mitchell. He got some really positive reviews in the spring. And I didn't necessarily see a lot of that in the 11-on-11. We don't see a ton of that anyway. So if you told me Mitchell was a starter on this team and was a big presence in the middle of the defensive front, I would believe that. If you told me he got beat out by a couple of guys and was more like the 5th option, I might believe that too. I think it's something because he was at Texas for 2 years and didn't really play. I had the stats. He logged action in 4 games in 2023 and 5 in 2024. So he's not even an every week guy for Texas for 2 years. Now I know they put some guys into the draft, but it feels unlikely to me that he's blossomed into some sort of all-conference level player. Certainly possible. Happens for guys all the time. But it would be a big transition from what he was at Texas. But I think those 2 guys are the big space eaters. Then you've got the guys who might be playmakers for you. Ahmad Bro fits that profile. He's got an incredible motor. Kyle Williams has known him for a long time and coaching him at Ruston. He caught the coach's eyes as a freshman last year, having put on some weight and kind of learning a new position inside as opposed to more on the edge. But he's quick and he plays really hard and he can get into the backfield. And Bernard Gooden has been that dude really for over a year at South Florida. He made 10.5 plays in the backfield for South Florida last year, and his Pro Football Focus grades are great. Now, I give this caveat every time I talk about Pro Football Focus, but I feel like I need to because a lot of you are listening and roll your eyes when I say that. It's not the end-all be-all, but they do watch tape, and more often than not, as I've gotten into doing the Pro Football Focus grades every Sunday after the games for LouisianaSports.net, they generally reflect what we saw in the game. It's not like I look at the grades and I'm like, where the heck did they come up with that? It usually is in pretty well lockstep with what we felt when we were watching the game. And Gooden's grades are really good. He had a high grade over 70 against Alabama last year. And he's undersized, as I mentioned. He's 268 pounds, 275 pounds. And he's quick and he's active. And he and Bro are that kind of defensive tackle. And then you got McKinley, who can really be anything. He can be a space eater. He can be a playmaker. He's got the size, speed, and quickness combination to be a lot of different things if he blossoms. And I think that's the main rotation that you're going to play. Sean Washington had some depth as a redshirt junior. Then you got the 3 freshmen. But to me, these are the guys that have got to play. It's got to be Bro. It's got to be McKinley. It's got to be Guillory. It's got to be Mitchell. It's got to be Gooden. Those 5 have got to be in there, and they've got to be impactful. LSU's best defenses have had great defensive tackle play. Going back to Chad Lavallee and Kyle Williams, course Glenn Dorsey, obviously. My guy Drake Nevis was awesome. And then you go to the more recent teams, Michael Brockers, Benny Logan was on with the morning show guys today. Even a couple of years ago, in 2019, Tyler Shelvin didn't make it in the NFL as a star. He was a problem for teams in 2019 with his his size and his quickness. Like he was massive and he could be disruptive as well. He played well on that 2019 team. So they haven't had that level of play at defensive tackle. Like you had a couple of guys in Mekhi Wingo and Mason Smith who were NFL draft picks and who have made rosters. And you would love to have them last year as opposed to them going to the NFL draft early. But you didn't have any depth behind them 2 years ago. And then the guys you played last year just were not all league type players. And somehow, some way, LSU's going to have to cultivate that. Now, it hurts when you've got a different position coach every single year with them. When you come in with Jamar Cain, and then you hire Jimmy Lindsey, and he gets sick, so Bob Diaco comes in to try to do it, and he's kind of out of place there, so you hire Pete Jenkins, and then you go get Bo Davis, and he moves on to the Saints, and you hire Kyle Williams, and like that kind of instability just makes things really difficult in any position group. Not having the same two eyes and one voice in front of your meeting room ever for the course of 13, 14 months really hurts. But hopefully Kyle Williams puts an end to that, and you know that Kyle Williams has a style that he prefers, and he has said this. You've heard this from Blake Baker. You've heard this from some of the players. Like LSU under Kyle Williams, and Blake Baker echoes this, doesn't want its defensive linemen to stand up and hold offensive linemen. That's not the way Kyle Williams wants to play. He wants to be disruptive. He wants to shoot gaps. He wants to get into the backfield. And so to me, that fits Bro and Gooden and McKinley a lot. Now, you need the big space filler at times. And you need that against the run, and Guillory and Mitchell look to be that dude. But I'm just curious how that rotation looks. I don't have a great feel for this. I'm not one of those guys that is going to get up here in July and even early in August and tell you exactly what the depth chart is going to be and bang my fist and go, this is the guy. Like, I'm perfectly comfortable sitting here and going, there are 5 guys I think are going to play. You could pick any 2 of them to start, and I'm not really sure what it'll look like. I'm not really sure. But it's something we should get a pretty good feel for pretty early in camp. Because what's been the theme with me going through this depth chart and talking about what camp's going to look like? I believe that this coaching staff, in an effort to be more prepared for week 1 than they have been, want to settle on a reasonable starting lineup pretty quickly in camp and get those guys to work together for more than just a week and a half. Don't let these position battles drag out for 3.5 weeks. They go 8 practices. You know what's going on. Let's get our guys ready to go. Like, that's what I think this team is trying to do. And I don't know which of these tackles is most likely to emerge from that group. But it'll be an interesting competition to watch. And without question, the play of LSU at defensive tackle will have a huge impact on what this LSU defense is. I think they're excellent at linebacker, and I think they've brought in enough talent at defensive end and corner to be much improved. Tackle is a wild card. If you told me Ahmad Bro was second team All SEC this year, I would believe it. If you told me he got beat out and was the fourth guy on this list, I would believe that too. Same with Don McKinley. There's a lot of variance in what these guys could be. And their development, especially in August, getting ready for Clemson, is going to be massive. So if you'd like to read a little bit more in-depth in terms of statistics and some of those things, you can check out the in-depth chart series at louisianasports.net. If you were out last week and you're just kind of getting back in from vacation and kind of easing back in and want to get into football, if you go to our LSU tab on louisianasports.net, you go to teams and you go to LSU, every single in-depth chart piece that I've done is up there. I did center, I did guard, I did tackle, tight end, wide receiver, running back, quarterback. It's all been done, and then now defensive tackle's up there. You can read as much as you'd like about the LSU football team over at louisianasports.net. Appreciate y'all for checking that out. All right, when we come back, Ronnie Rantz going to join us. They got a big night coming up for a playoff game, and a couple of headlining guests going to be out there from LSU baseball and LSU football. We'll tell you who next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Massive baseball in Milwaukee the next 3 days. Cubs and Brewers tied for the best record in the National League. Huge implications. Baseball's heating up. It's getting into dog days. And there's Texas Collegiate League playoff action here in Baton Rouge tomorrow. Baton Rouge Rougarou owner Ronnie Rantz jumps aboard the Jim's Firearms Hotline to let us know about it. Ronnie, how we doing?
Man, we're doing pretty good. We're doing to the tune of 37-10. We're the Baton Rouge Rougarou this year during the regular season. First place champs in the Louisiana division and number 1 seed overall. And now we start the fun stuff. The real stuff begins. Playoffs this week, a 2 out of 3 series between us and the Acadiana Cane Cutters. Game 1 tomorrow night, 7:00 at the Gold Mine, Pete Goolsby Field, and then Wednesday in Lafayette and Youngsville at Faubacher Field. And if necessary, if there's a Game 3, it'll be back here in Baton Rouge on Thursday.
Tell us, you got some special guests coming out, it appears, bringing out the heavy hitters.
Yeah, we are. Stephen Milam, Monster Milam's going to be out there tomorrow night. He'll be throwing out one of the ceremonial first pitches. He'll also be signing autographs for kids behind the third base dugout. Behind the Rougarou dugout on third base side from 7 to 7:30. And then we also have Big K, Coach Brian Kelly, going to throw in the Rougarou jersey and take a break from the football, Ponderosa for a little bit and come over and watch some baseball. And he'll be throwing out the first pitch. We also have the Cajun Ninja for you folks who like to eat some good food. He's going to be cooking up his world-famous pastelaya with his payao seasoning and selling that tomorrow as well, and many, many others. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Tell me about over the night of the weekend, Skip Burtman night. I know that was a big success.
So Skip's grandson, Ezra Pate, was a freshman this year in college on the East Coast, and he had tore up his knee about a year and a half ago, got his spike caught in the mound, and so he rehabbed and he got healthy in the late spring, and so he came down and lived with Coach Burtman this summer in Baton Rouge and played for the Baton Rouge Rougarou, one of our 18 pitchers, and he had a chance to start and pitch on Saturday night with Coach Burtman at the ballpark. We honored him. We actually retired the number 15 jersey, so no one will ever wear the number 15 jersey again after this season. We put a big giant Burtman 15 10 by 12 foot sign on the wall at Pete Goolsby Field and did a ceremony before the game for Coach, and it was really neat. He had all of his daughters there. Coach Burtman's daughters were in attendance, a lot of friends and family as well, and he got a chance to watch his grandson throw 2+ innings against the Victoria Generals.
Awesome. Well, how are we feeling about the Rougarou's chances? Are we going to get a championship here?
We feel pretty good. I mean, the pitching is our strong suit. We've had some injuries a few weeks ago. We lost about 4 or 5 of our starters on offense, so we've kind of been, trying to figure it out offensively. Blaze Priester's had a really good year. The former LSU catcher now going to Southeastern. He's hit 290 with 8 homers and 50 RBIs in 47 games. That's doing something. And Blaze is having a good year offensively. Josh Shelley's having an MVP year at third base, hitting over 350. So they're our leaders on offense. Casey Artigues as well, and about 26 games is hitting around 360. He's been outstanding in left field. He'll be at Nichols next year. And but on the mound, it starts with Fabian Hernandez. He's been for 2 years our best pitcher. He's undefeated this year, 7-0 with a 1 ERA, and he's a pitcher of the year candidate. And then, Dylan Thompson's having a nice season, the former LSU right-hander. He'll be going to Blinn Junior College over in Texas next year. And then lastly, JD Rodriguez, who's a big right-hander from Tulane, California kid. He's had an outstanding season, been the pitcher of the week twice this year. He's been our third starter. So we feel pretty good about our 1, 2, 3, and that's the strength of the team.
Tomorrow, playoff action from Pete Goolsby Field, 7:00. Stephen Milam will be throwing out the first pitch. Ronnie Rantz will certainly be there. We appreciate a little bit of time. We'll see you out at Goolsby tomorrow.
Thanks, hon. Appreciate it.
That is Ronnie Rantz, owner of the Baton Rouge Rougarou. You can go check that out. It's a lot of fun. Go out to Goolsby and watch some baseball. I've been fortunate to call some games over the last couple of summers with the Rougarou and looking for something inexpensive and fun and easy to do. It's a lot of fun. Go check out some Summer League baseball, play with a wooden bat. There's some real talent out there. As you mentioned, Blaze Priester's been at LSU 2 different times, and a couple other ex-LSU Tigers have had good summers there for Ronnie and company. We got a little bit of time here back, so I feel like we can talk about Happy Gilmore 2 while we're in the middle of this Rougarou segment. Did you have a chance to watch Happy Gilmore 2 over the weekend?
I did not get to watch it.
You did not?
Nope.
How many spoilers have you read?
I haven't seen any. I think I can probably guess what a lot's going to happen. there's.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Go ahead. Let's see how that goes.
I'm assuming there was some sort of reference to Will Zalatoris looking like the caddy from the first movie. I'm guessing Ben Stiller shows up and probably beats someone up.
Ben Stiller. There are a lot of cameos. I will say that, and there are a lot of Easter eggs from the previous one. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I kind of expected.
Yep, and I'm not going to give spoilers for those that want to watch it. I'll say this: Alyssa and I both enjoyed it. I chuckled out loud a few times.
Yeah.
It's not going to win any Academy Awards, as you knew. It was straight to Netflix for a reason. But they did, I think, what they needed to do. They gave you some nostalgia. They gave you some cheap laughs.
Yep.
And they gave you some celebrities. And I think that there are some cameos that are really funny. And if you realized going in that you're not trying to watch a critically acclaimed picture, I think that it's a good 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean, I don't know how anyone would really even think about going in to watch that movie expecting to be some kind of, really just
critically
awe-inspiring, critically acclaimed movie. That's not what it's not trying to be that, I'm sure, and shouldn't really consider it to be that anyway. But yeah, I'll probably watch it. I guess I might watch it this week, maybe.
Here's a teaser that's not a spoiler in any way. I was absolutely stunned like 70 seconds into the movie.
Okay.
I was stunned with one of the things they did 70 seconds into the movie. I was like, I can't believe they did that.
Wow.
After watching some of the promotion of the film.
Yeah.
Less than 2 minutes in, I was like, are you serious? So yeah, it's mindless, it's dumb, it's silly, it's zany, it's not believable. But that's Happy Gilmore. They had a movie about a guy who was a hockey player who drives 500 yards and won the tour championship. So yeah, some good stuff there. I thought they kind of handled it the way that it should be handled. So I'm not disappointed I watched it. Will I watch it again?
Bubba Wallace here from 2311 Racing. Funny thing about being fast, you end up waiting a lot. First to show up, first in line, then just waiting. Me, I rev up Chumba Casino. With over 200 social casino games, no slow lanes here. Why sit around when you can spin? I'm already racing. Your turn. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe, but not anytime. I don't think in the coming days. All right, that's Happy Gilmore too. Quick aside there. Let's get back to sports. Talk a little LSU football when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. The GV80 is their best seller. I got behind the wheel of one of those last week when I was over at Genesis, and it is awesome. I'm a midsize SUV driver, and that's exactly right in my wheelhouse. It was just a great vehicle to get behind the wheel of. And then you realize the perks that you get for driving it. You get just incredible warranties on it. You're talking about 10-year, 100,000 miles on the powertrain warranty. You're talking about 5 years, 60,000 miles bumper to bumper. You're talking about 3 years of complimentary maintenance. Not only that, complimentary valet maintenance. So get on by and ask to test drive the GV80 or GV80 Sport if you're looking for something a little bit sportier, a little bit smaller. They can help you out with that as well. Every single car in the line, every model, is an IHA top safety pick. They're safe. They're a luxury brand of vehicle at a reasonable price. And they're right there, Airline at PQ. The only fully exclusive Genesis dealer in the state of Louisiana. Get on by and see him, Airline at PQ, or check it out online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hope your work week's off to a good start. Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Been jam-packed talking Saints football to crank things up. Got into some LSU football. Did a little baseball as well. A little detour to the Rougarou and Happy Gilmore too in the last segment. Let's get it back on the tracks here with some football. I'm going to make this a hybrid segment because I wrote 2 pieces over the weekend for LouisianaSports.net in my in-depth chart series, and they were on the offensive side, the running backs and the quarterbacks. And in short, I think LSU is in a great spot at both positions in terms of top-end talent. I think Garrett Nussmeier is a gifted passer, one of the best in college football. You look at last year, he threw for 300 yards 10 times. He had really high Pro Football Focus grades the majority of the season. We know the 5 quarters that sucked. Like, he was terrible in the second half against Texas A&M. He was bad in the rain against Alabama. I don't think he was terrible at Florida. I think LSU didn't play very well in that game, and the defense I didn't think was great. But yeah, the Texas A&M second half and the Alabama game were his worst efforts. But if you look at the season as a whole for his first year starting, I thought he did a good job. And I think that he gives LSU every opportunity to do anything they want to do this year as a starting quarterback. And as far as running back goes, I mentioned last week that I think they're a little bit thin at running back. I'd like to have one more. But as far as the talent goes, like, I think Caden Durham can be the first team all-league back. Like, I think he's that talented in terms of his vision, in terms of his speed, his agility, his balance, which is the most impressive thing to me about him. I didn't know that he had that kind of balance until the South Carolina game where he was making everybody miss. I mean, he forced a significant amount of missed tackles last year. He made 6 South Carolina Gamecocks missed tackles in that game, which was his first real coming out party as a freshman running back. The speed we knew. You can turn on YouTube from Duncanville and see him running wind sprints in the state championship game and realize, like, this guy is at a different level in terms of speed. And you knew that from the track numbers and all that. But, like, he's a complete back. Like, do I wish he was 2 inches taller? Sure. But does he have to be? No. And I think he's great. And I'm not ready to completely dismiss Caleb Jackson after 2 years. I'm not. That may be foolish. There may be some of you that are. And I'll be the first to stand here and say he was completely ineffective last year. Like, he did not run the ball well. There are some concerns about his vision and some of those things, and I get all that. But I've still seen him, when a hole opens up and he knows where he's going, be big and fast and strong and a problem for teams to tackle. And I'm not asking him to be the lead back. Like, if Durham goes down, you are in a little bit of trouble, in my opinion. But if Durham's the lead back and Jackson's a change of pace that gives you 7 carries, I think those 7 carries can be really, really impactful, especially late in the game when teams are tired, because he is still 235, 240 pounds, and he is still a guy with track speed from a high school perspective. So I think he's a great change of pace. And then, what's Harlem Berry? He could be a breakout star. He could be kind of a third down option. He could be too skinny to play. I would put that as the least likely chance. I don't think he's too skinny to play, but he is slender at this current time. Like, he just off the high school field. But if they find a way to get him the ball in some space like they did in one of the spring practices we went to, he's exciting. He made like 4 guys miss on 1 play in the spring. That is where he's at his absolute best, and that's where you get the Reggie Bush comps. I don't know if Barry is quite that electric, but the style is similar to what Reggie Bush was, which is a little bit taller, a little bit leaner, incredible in space, can make guys miss, has acceleration. All that is in Harlem Berry's tool chest. And I think those are your 3 guys that you're going to go to battle with. I don't think JT Lindsey factors in too much right now. We'll see after Halloween. But those 3 guys are talented enough to be the core of a running back group. Absolutely. I think Durham can absolutely handle 20 carries a game. I think Jackson's good for 7, and I think Barry's good for 7 or 8. And that, to me, is enough ground game and should be a talented enough group to be productive. Here's one thing that I will harp on. I did in the spring. I'm doing it now. I will do it before the Clemson game. I'm not going to stop until we've seen a game. But this team is going to run the ball in a different way in this season than they did last year. Now, that did not suggest they were going to be way better at it. They could be. I hope they are. I don't know that. I know it's going to look different. They're going to do more misdirection. They're going to do more ball handling in the backfield, where you got to kind of take an option and create some indecision for the linebackers. And they're going to use their athletic offensive linemen to get out and try to make some things happen. Last year, they were a little bit vanilla in the running game. They tried a couple of things. You saw him try the wishbone backfield with the 3 backs and a leaning fullback. Like, you saw some stuff. They're going to be more creative this year. And my hope is that Alex Atkins can help in some way. Alex Atkins was the offensive coordinator. Mike Norvell was calling plays, but he was the offensive coordinator at Florida State. He's an offensive line coach by trade. The running game is his deal. And he's coaching the tight ends at LSU. Hopefully he can help a little bit in the running game. And if that's true, like, they should be able to run the ball better. Keep in mind, this doesn't have to look like a classic Les Miles 2011 dominant rushing attack that no one can stop. I'm not asking for Caden Durham to run for 1,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. They're good enough throwing the ball to handle a big workload on the outside. They just need to function in the running game. And last year, they could not function in the running game. They couldn't. They were last in the league in rushing. LSU should not be last in the SEC in anything. Not as long as Vanderbilt and Mississippi State and Kentucky are still fielding football teams. You can't be last in anything. And they were last in running the ball. That's just unfathomable. And that's coming right off the heels of them being the worst defense in the league. Like, those things shouldn't happen. And to Brian Kelly's credit, they were the worst defense, and he went out and fired the whole staff and brought in a new group, and it looks pretty good on paper. And they should be much better on defense. They were a little bit better last year. They should be much better this year. They were terrible running the ball last year. They got to be much better this year. The issue that Brian Kelly's had in his time here is not that he's unwilling to change things or hasn't had really solid aspects to a team. It's that something is bottoming out too often. And you bottomed out on defense 2 years ago, and you bottomed out running the ball last year. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. It's a tough assignment week 1. But as far as if they can't run the ball this year, it's not going to be because they don't have a good enough stable of backs, and it's not because they don't have a quarterback that can't take some pressure off the run game. Like, no one is going to stack the box against LSU. No one. You can't. Nussmeier will pick you apart. So you should have an advantage in numbers in the box. You know that going into the season because you know how good your quarterback is. You know how good your wide receivers are. You know how explosive your tight end can be. And you've got talent at running back. They should be able to create some holes and find a way to run the ball. They just should. And if they can't, then shame on them. And I think that there's an issue with the scheme. I will probably never, in my time on this microphone and writing on the website, I will probably never have a great explanation for how LSU could have 4 offensive linemen drafted, have guys that have started for 3 and 4 years on an offensive front that was completely elite in pass blocking. When you look at pass attempts and sacks, LSU's ratio was the best in college football last year. They were great, and they could not run the ball. I will never have a great explanation for that other than to try to suggest, yeah, these guys are just better at pass blocking than run blocking. But you ought to have such an advantage in the running game because you can create a numbers advantage because teams have to fear your wide receivers. They have to fear Chris Hilton's speed. They have to fear Barry and Brown's speed, Aaron Anderson's productivity, Trey'Dez Green's matchup on the outside, Nick Anderson's home run hitting ability and size and speed. You have to fear all that kind of stuff. So you've got to play numbers back there. And the offensive line should be able to get a push for what looks to me on paper to be a really, really talented group of backs. And I think that at this point, unlike defensive tackle where I'm sitting back going, I don't really know if I can define these roles, I think I got a pretty good handle on what they're going to do at running back. It's Durham for 70, 75%. It's Jackson and Barry splitting that other 20, 25%. And they do that based, I think, on game situation. If you're trying to run the ball at a team in 4-minute offense this thing late in the game, Jackson's your guy. If you're probably throwing the ball a little bit more and you need a blow for Caden Durham, Barry can come in there and he can line up in the shotgun, go run routes, get the ball in space, and make people miss. So you've got both skill sets that you need, power running, electric in space, to go with your lead back. I think you've got the ingredients there to have very productive running backs. It just all boils down to the offensive line. And so much about this freaking football team as we get closer and closer to training camp, which starts here in a couple days, is just what is the offensive line going to do? And if they show up and they play well, it is a team that's going to be a force. If they don't play well, it's a team that's going to lose a bunch of games and come up way short of what they were projected to be. And every time I analyze a position, especially on the offensive side, I come back to if the offensive line's good enough. Last year at this time, you were saying, well, the offensive line's awesome. They got to figure everything else out. In college football, when guys come and go very quickly, generally the talking points flip on their head 12 months later. That's the case here. There's a look at your running backs. If you want to read more about them, including some numbers from Pro Football Focus, some production numbers, you can check that out at louisianasports.net. Our LSU content you can always find at Hunt Palmer Show and Hunt on LSU. Step aside one more time. Come back and close out this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com is that website. I think all fairly quiet in the tropics at this point, but we know that can change at almost a moment's notice. Make sure your property policy is written properly. John and the Carboner's team can do it. Well, how do I know if it's right? Well, just let them audit it. It's free. They'll take a look at it and make sure that everything's on the up and up. What are the exclusions? What's your wind and hail deductible? Is it a named storm deductible? Are your buildings properly evaluated? Okay. Is your business interruption limit proper? If you can't go to work, you're still going to get paid. You pay good money for those premiums. Make sure the insurance policy is correct. That's what they do at the Highland Insurance Group. Yes, they understand premium is so important to their clients. And they shop their multiple markets to make sure that you've got as good a deal as is in the marketplace. But you also have to make sure that it's correct. So if the only thing you've ever looked at is a premium, just contact the Highland Insurance Group and let them take a look. Jonathan Carver and his group are happy to do it. They're here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. It's the Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
.104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust want to make things a little easier on your budget by making your groceries for an entire year. And even if you don't win the grand prize, we're also going to be awarding second chance prizes of $250 gift cards to High Neighbor Supermarkets. It's the free groceries for a year sweepstakes powered by Citizens Bank and Trust, High Neighbor, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Register now at 104.5ESPN.com.
Was the term making groceries ever said in your house?
I think is that more of a New Orleans thing?
Might be.
I think it is. I don't know if Cassie knows, but I feel like I've heard that before.
Making groceries?
My mama used to say it, but like nobody younger.
There was my sister's best friend's mom's from Lafayette, and she used to say "get down from the car," and it just struck me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think that's a 337 thing.
Maybe so.
It's interesting. You go throughout the state, and that's something we brought up at LSU all the time. Like wherever you're from, like the game. So the game that you play on the playground, where you line up and one person shoots and you shoot from behind them, and if they make it, you're out. What do you call that?
Put out.
Put out. Okay, that would be knockout for me.
Knockout.
But it was bump for a lot of people.
Bump.
Too.
Yeah, I know about bump too because people. And I didn't know about that either, where you can bump the other person's ball.
We didn't do that.
That seemed. Yeah, I don't
call it
think,
knockout.
Yeah, bump is. I don't like bump, man.
What do you put your school supplies in that you wear with the straps over your shoulders?
Your backpack.
Backpack. Well, there's book sack.
I've heard book sack.
It's just, and then I grew up with snow cone.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy because I thought snowball was like a Louisiana state thing, but apparently not. I mean, I know Shreveport is South Arkansas. I'm aware. But snow cone is crazy.
It blows my mind that my friends from New Orleans, and Cassie probably does this too, say grammar school. Do you say grammar school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never said that.
That's elementary school.
Yeah,
No,
I never said grammar school.
It's just crazy how that neutral ground and that kind of stuff, median.
Yeah.
Just depends on where you're from, I guess. We got any take it or leave it?
Let's see. I can come up with a few, I think.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it or leave
Flight by Yingling. Very good. Had a couple last night. Went to the pool with the Myers man. Had one at dinner as well. Just incredibly refreshing, light, and delicious. You're looking for a light beer that's still got that beer flavor. Yingling Flight is your ticket. It's 4.2 alcohol by volume, just 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. It's the next generation of light beer. If you're looking for something to tailgate with this fall, by the pool, at the lake, at the grill, there I was last night as well, Flight by Yingling.
Alrighty, first one here. I saw this on Twitter. This is pretty funny. I don't know if you saw it, but Nikola Jokic back in his home country of Serbia, and his horse, which is a racehorse over there, and the way they do their horse racing is pretty cool. They have the guys riding on the little two-wheel carts behind them. And anyways, Jokic's horse won. I'm not sure the significance of the race, but however, if you ever really wanted some real concrete evidence, if you didn't have it already, that Jokic does not really care about basketball very much. He was in tears after his horse won the race. He went and hugged it and popped champagne and picked the jockey up and everything. I mean, you could tell he was absolutely elated.
Which is nuts.
It is.
Because he plays basketball.
Yes.
Like, he's the reason they win.
Yes.
This is a horse running he purchased.
I'm going to get to take the take it or leave it in a second, but I think this also, like, this to me, this mirrors Scotty Scheffler's, like, what he said for the Open Championship about the fact that the golf is not what he solely his life is for. Like, he has so many other things that he cares about, and golf is very important to him, but it's not the single driving force in his life. And I think Jokic maybe is the same way. Like, he likes basketball. Obviously, he's really good at it, but it's not the single thing that drives him. So I think that maybe is a correlation there. But Jokic crying with his horse winning a race. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I mean, you just bought the horse. You win the MVPs. You win a championship in basketball. Like, that should be the emotional thing for you.
Yeah, but
Scheffler
I mean,
says he wants to win and he hates to lose. Jokic's like, I just want to go back home to Serbia. Like, it's just.
I think he probably has a little bit more involvement in the horse in terms of, even though I know he just bought it, but I'm sure he has some
he
conversations.
Pays the jockey.
Yeah, and he has conversations with the trainer, making sure that I see where you're coming from with that regard, but I mean, look, he cares about this a lot, so I mean, I'm not going to fault him for crying about it. I mean, it is maybe a little bit much. If this is like the Kentucky Derby of Serbian race, then maybe it's equivalent. Hey, look, maybe Jokic will start getting involved in some ownership in horses here. That'd be pretty interesting.
He's got
plenty of money for it.
Jeez, NBA contracts.
Yeah. All right, last one real quick. Phillies Bryce Harper. I don't know if you saw this, but apparently they were having a meeting with Rob Manfred discussing the salary cap issue that will cause a lockout next year. But Bryce Harper told Manfred, reportedly told him, get the F out of our clubhouse, telling the commissioner to F off, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. Apparently it got heated. Manfred fired back at him. I understand, like, where everybody's coming from here. I understand it all. However, like, I don't have any use for that kind of scene being done.
Yeah.
Like, that's not just... I just don't like treating people like that. It's business people do it all the time. I understand there's negotiating tactics, there's intensity, there's millions of dollars on the line, all these things that I don't have any perspective on because I'm never in that kind of situation. But, like, it's not like they're trying to break the law or anything.
Yeah.
They're trying to regulate the sport and do what every other league in professional sports in America does. And the only thing that I draw from this is not that I'm on the player side or on the owner side. I don't really have a side on that. I'm just grossed out that they are both are digging their heels in a big way, and they've been publicly declaring that there's going to be a strike or a lockout or whatever you want to call a work stoppage in 2027. They've been talking about it since 2023.
Yeah.
So this is going to happen, and we're probably going to miss. We might miss an entire baseball season, which is just devastating to me. I hate it. And they always say, well, baseball will never recover from that, and I don't know if that's true, but it's certainly not good. And I don't know what the result's going to be, but it makes me sad because I like this time of year. I'm so excited to watch the Cubs tonight. It's such a big game. They're tied with the Brewers. You got 2 months to play. You're in Milwaukee. It's huge, and I'm going to get none of that. In a time when the Cubs have a great nucleus to their team, you're going to miss maybe a whole baseball season. It just sucks.
It does. I mean, and we've seen lockouts before. The NBA had a lockout not too recently, and the players they have the power. They are the star power. They are why people watch. So especially in baseball. I mean, there's so much star power in baseball. So I think we know where this is going to head, but yeah, it really sucks and not a great way to handle the situation though. That's it.
No, just got to be a little more professional than that. But that's part of the being a team guy and sticking up for your guys is what it is, I guess. All right, that's it for me. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. More on Saints and LSU camp tomorrow. I'm out of here. Matt's going to drive you home from Houston on AFR. Same time, same place tomorrow for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.